who is the king of the slashers? And I want to talk about this, and I really want to break it down because I really want to weigh out all of our pros and cons here, right? I don't want to just willy-nilly select somebody because you got to really go over it. So without giving me your answer, let's just kind of talk about each one. Halloween. You could make a strong argument that the original Halloween is the best film out of all these movies.
You could.
You could make an argument.
Mm-hmm.
But for my money, Michael Myers has the worst batting average. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's a great Halloween movie past the third one. And certain people hate the third one. So I don't like 4. I mean, 4 is what people give 4 too much of a pass. 4 became a generic slasher movie. Right? 4 came so late that it just felt like it was copying all the movies that were copying Halloween badly. You know what I mean? And I just don't think it's that good. It's just because, you know, it's paired with 5, which is really bad.
The 5 is bad. I liked 4. I like 4 though for what it is.
I think it's just because next to 5, I think that's what makes it so good. It's like it's just because it's sitting next to that turd and they kind of go together. That's just my opinion, but I don't think it's anything special. And 5 is bad, 6 is bad. We don't have to go. What's it called? H2O. I think is watchable. It just doesn't feel like a Halloween movie at all. There's nothing. There's nothing about it. Like the setting, it's not Haddonfield. Nothing about it. And the movie's like 80 minutes, and Michael Myers doesn't show up to like the last fucking 10 minutes, and he's like kills a couple of people at that like wherever they're the campus. It just doesn't feel like a Halloween movie to me. But it's not like I can sit and watch it. It's fine. And then obviously the rest speaks for itself. Jason, I don't think any of his movies are as good, in my opinion, as like the first Halloween or even the second Halloween for me personally. But he's way more consistent. Like he's got way more consistent films. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe in my opinion, Friday the 13th Part 2 or whatever, as much as I think it's good, doesn't reach the highs of Halloween 1. It maintains this quality level a lot. Yeah, there's ebbs and flows with the Friday series, but it's just more consistent. Like if you like one, you're going to appreciate most of them. I think. I don't think it gets really, really intolerable until you get to, I think Manhattan's pretty bad. And I think Jason Goes to Hell is pretty bad. But you know what? I know people have their contentions with like 5, 6, and 7, depending on who you are. But I think they're all pretty consistent. You know, that's my opinion. Up until you get to those couple of rough ones, and then Freddy. You have to consider Freddy. Freddy's the only one that talks. He's got the personality. Even though he does kind of the same shit in every movie, I think his movies are all the most different from each other. Like they all kind of stand apart, in my opinion. I guess 3 and 4 are kind of the closest because they actually have like spillover characters, and spillover. She spills over too in 5, but 5 feels kind of fucking weird to me. But it is weird how there's like an arc between 3, 4, and 5, a continuous arc. But still, the films all feel different to me. There is a consistency issue with Freddy too, but I don't think Freddy ever gets. As much as I don't like New Night Dead is not good. Freddy's 5 is boring, but they still don't quite get as bad as those Halloween movies for me. Like they have something that makes me want to revisit them, I guess. But where are you leaning at? Like what's your overview before you give me an answer? I'm not going to give my answer to you do.
So they all have their pros. I totally understand why anybody would choose any one of these 3. I have mine. Mine has changed over the years. So when I was younger, I felt really strongly about one franchise, and then as I got older, I jumped to another franchise, and then later on, I kind of went back and I picked a different franchise. So I've been all over the place with this. My favorite films, there's one of them has three good films that I love. The other one has probably 3 good films, and the other one has 5 or 6. So, I mean, you know where I'm leaning for this. The best slasher, the best. I love Camp Crystal Lake. I think it's fantastic. I love the whole summer camp vibe. I love Nightmare on Elm Street vibe. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street freaks you out as a kid, because he comes at you in your dreams. There's no telling what he can do.
The kills are more inventive in the Elm
The,
Street series.
the kills. I mean, he's Robert Englund's just scary, dude. Before he became a parody of himself, and then Michael Myers is just Michael Myers. I mean, I think Michael Myers is probably the weakest, in my opinion, out of both of them.
I feel that if they would have stopped Halloween after the first one, maybe the second one max, Michael Myers would be the scariest.
Absolutely.
Like if he's just been so tainted and watered down by this fucking beat dead franchise that he's not. We've seen H2O Myers with the fucking goofy mask. We've seen Trick or Treat Motherfucker with Busta Rhymes. We've seen all these different variants, and I'm like, if they just would have stopped with the original shape and just it would have been this cult movie. It would have just, think about it. What other movies really franchised from John Carpenter films? This is it. If this would have never franchised out and it was just another Carpenter movie like The Thing or They Lit, it would be, he would be creepy. I think he'd be like, wow, this fucking, this shape, man, this fucking, volume is what killed Michael Myers.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. That makes total sense.
At its core, at the actual concentrate, I think Michael Myers is kind of the creepiest of all of them, but it's just hard to see him that way anymore.
And I still think Robert Englund's creepier. Even as I'm older, I think he is. I don't think that the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is as rewatchable as the Friday the 13th franchise. If that makes sense.
Okay.
But that's because he's just being older, and he doesn't scare me as much as he did when I was a kid. When I was a kid, it was, Robert Englund
he's the one with the personality, so he gets silly. He changes over the years. He got extra silly, and at a point, I mean, this is, everybody knows this, but by the time you get to like the third one, they were marketing Freddy as the hero. Everybody was cheering. Everybody was going to see Freddy kill people and cheering, like, yeah, you're rooting for Freddy because he's funny and he's silly. In the first couple of movies, he's definitely creepier, and he's different because he can taunt you, he can get in your sight, he can say shit, how I touched him, Nancy, and lick the phone, and there's a different kind of creep factor to the first couple, but it's like Michael Myers where he became something different. I think silly Freddy is funny, but it's not like scary Freddy. So I don't know.
Just the fact that the Play-Doh is after you as a kid just freaks you out even more.
Yeah, and they can deny that's what he is, but he is that, right? And then, so that's one kind of scary, but there's also a kind of scary to Michael Myers where he has no motives.
Yeah.
Right? Freddy is like torturing you. He's like a cat playing with a mouse, right? And he's sadistic. Michael Myers, there's also something scary about just this mindless killing machine. That's kind of the shape. So they're equal. There's different. They got their pros to them.
And as for my favorite, it's got to be Friday the 13th. I love the second one. I love the first one. I love the third, the fourth, the fifth. Not as much the third, but the fourth and fifth, and then they're all, most of them are all good except Jason X is trash, and the later ones are trash. But
Jason X is trash. Jason Goes to Hell is trash. I think Manhattan's trash.
I like Manhattan a lot.
I don't think a couple of funny scenes save it.
I do. I rewatch that all the time. Dude.
Really? Because we always like remember the funny scenes. We remember like Jason first walking through like that one shot of like Times Square or whatever they have, and then you of course bopping the head off the one guy. These couple of scenes, but like I'm like, oh yeah, that was really funny, and then I go back and I've watched it and I'm like, oh, this movie's terrible.
It's more of a time capsule. Like I used to watch it, I think early 90s, late 80s, and I just remember like hearing the advertisements for it, and ever since then, man, I've always had like a fascination with that movie, even though it's not great, but just something about it. It just sticks with me. So I really enjoy it.
So let me see if I can figure out my answer. Cause like I said, I already said with Michael Myers, there's 3 good Halloween movies, and Michael Myers isn't even 3. So we can't count that.
Yeah.
He's got 2 good movies. He's got 2 really good movies. I would argue he's got 1, 2, 3, a couple, 4 and H2O are very ho-hum. They're just not anything for me. I think 5 and 6 are god awful. I think Resurrection is god awful. I think the first Rob Zombie movie is all right. I mean, it was something different. Rob Zombie 2 is god awful in my opinion. And then the Gordon Green movies are, we're kind of back to ho hum territory, right? So as far as like movies I love, I think he's only got 2 movies that I love,
Yeah.
right? Really, in Michael Myers. Jason, I like pretty consistently the first 7.
Mhm.
And I think one's a little overrated for me. The standouts for me are 2, 4, and 5, probably. Um, so yeah, but let's look. I think Freddy's the really real contender here between Freddy and Jason, because I'm gonna go ahead and disqualify Michael because he's only got 2 great movies. And even if I do like maybe those movies more than some of the other ones I mentioned from Jason, Freddy though, I think Freddy's batting average is kind of similar to Jason for me.
Okay, give it to me.
So the first one, the second one, the third one are all great. The
Yeah.
fourth one I
Fourth
really
one's
love.
good.
I
Yeah.
love the fourth one, even though I can understand it's got a weird steep from the third, but it's got its own like
I like
thing
the
about it.
fourth one, yeah.
I do too. Uh, 5, it's getting a little
No,
rickety
it's
on
not
them
good.
wheels. It's not very good. But you know what? Just like your fucking Jason takes Manhattan. It's got things about it that are memorable. I got the Need for Speed,
Mm.
Super Freddy, but the movie's boring. It's just missing something. Like him cutting up the comic guy. It's like it's inventive, but it's not satisfying. Like, what is this? And the Jacob thing at the end's fucking weird. So this is kind of where we're getting into kind of shit territory. Freddy's Dead is shit too. But
Yeah.
but then we have New Nightmare, which I think is, it's a missed
It's pretty
opportunity.
good, yeah. I
It's
like New
good.
Nightmare.
It's not great. Like it could be great. It's missing something. It's like the concept is really fun. I like watching it. Everything about it's super fun. The whole meta idea was so ahead of its time. They just don't really stick that landing at all. The third act and everything. But you know what? I think it's pretty good. So, I mean, for me, you got 5 good movies there. You got a few really great ones, you got 2 pretty good ones, and then you've got 2 dog shit movies. So for me, I'm gonna lean Freddy just off that, just because I think I could easily I can't, is that a word? Watch Freddy movies. I think the better Freddy movie. I think the best Freddy movies are probably better than the best Jason movies. That's my opinion. And
And
I don't
I'm with you, but I'm the total opposite with that. So
and I don't think, and like I said, if Michael Myers just had 1 or 2 more okay movies, he'd be on the map, because like I said, his first 2 movies, they're contenders, but he just doesn't have enough. So that's my thing. So
I like the variety of Jason though with the potato sack Jason. I like the Mrs. Voorhees killer. I like of course different hockey masks. I think it's cool how they do that for each movie.
you got the Roy, you got
They got Roy
the
in
fake out
5.
killers.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And it's
So
got well, that this doesn't, I don't know if this had anything to do with the slasher themselves, but if you wanted to break down their cast, dude, I mean, the Freddy movies have had cool casts, but the
yeah.
Jason movies have had casts, man. The
Oh,
people
yeah.
in the Jason movies over the years has been great. You've had like everybody, dude. You've had like what, Miguel Nunez, dude, that Miguel Nunez guy,
Mhm.
right? You've had Crispin Glover, you've had Horshack, you've had
Corey
Tom
Feldman.
Matthews, Corey Matthews, Tom Matthews, Corey Feldman. It's like Corey Matthews. Yeah, like there has been some fucking ace like Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so a really good final girl, right? In the first the second movie's great. First 2.
Yeah.
The sec
Yeah.
the yeah, the chick in the second one's really, really good. I can never get their fucking names right, dude. There's so many fucking people. I can't keep track of everybody's names. But yeah, so we're similar, just a little bit different. I go Freddy, he goes Jason. What do you guys think? Let us know. I feel like Halloween has the most stands out there. Like at
I think so too.
the
Halloween
Halloween
people are,
franchise
yeah.
has become this weird cult where
That and Scream fans, man.
it's just gotten so, I don't understand. I mean, I'm not against it. More people like horror, the better. It's just people have really latched on to Myers to where you would think you would have a stronger franchise as a whole, but whatever. Um,
Do you think the newer fans like Myers better or Ghostface nowadays?
I think you'd have to ask maybe a younger generation. I don't know.
I'm curious. I think they like Scream better now than
Let us know in the chat. I want people to
Yeah.
comment on this stuff when this video's out. Let us know. I'd be curious of your age and where actually I would be curious of your age demo and what you pick, because it'd
Yeah.
be interesting to like, okay, because maybe it's all about the age. Even though I was a kid when the first Scream came out, it's got this new life with this new
Mhm.
generation. It's really unspeakable. So